If you think you'll become successful in trading by copying other people, you're probably not right. What's up, traders? Welcome back to Bangkok in Thailand. Today I want to share with you something that I find interesting that I posted recently on YouTube in some posts. I'll try to leave them below linked if I can find them and put them there. But basically my idea was that I've been interviewing traders for a very long time, about 5 years now, or a bit more than that. And I've been trading myself full-time since 2017. And basically every trader I talked to who got successful in trading didn't make it by copying someone else's strategy. They didn't make it by finding a blog online, finding a strategy there or some more on YouTube and copying it and then trading it in the market. That's not how they do it. If you pay close attention, you'll find that all the traders that I interview on my podcast or that I talk to all have their own trading style that they've built for themselves. They have a strategy that they created themselves and that they become the master at. This makes it that they know really well how to implement it, what the results are, what the stats are, and they become good with that. The reason why I want to share this today is not because necessarily you have to do this right now. You might be in a phase where you want to learn different strategies from different people online, and that's totally fine. That's totally alright. See, the problem I have with this is that pretty much no one talks about it. No one talks about you should create your own trading style, you should create your own strategy and become the master at it. Now, why don't people talk about this? It's simple. It's because this topic is probably the least sexy topic in trading. This and risk management are the topics that are the least sexy in trading that no one talks about. You can make a video about creating your own strategy like I do here because I want to share this with you. I think it's important. Or about how to make $1,000 per day for the rest of your life. And most people will pick the $1,000 per day, of course, because that's most appealing and just kind of a nicer outcome. But in all reality, if you want to become a successful trader over the long term, you gotta create your own style. That's just gonna be mandatory to do that. Especially in a world that the strategies that are online now are most of them useless. Most of them you can apply them in the market. They might work for a few weeks, they might work for some time, but they won't work long term. I've tested a lot of them in the past. I used to read some books. I found some strategies there. I tried to apply them in the market. I tried to backtest them. They didn't work. First reason, maybe because they dated for a long time before when the book was published. But the second reason is they just don't work with everything you think about. And the third reason, which is most important also, is the fact that two traders, you give them the same strategy, it won't apply it the same way. One guy might make a good profit with it, the other guy might lose money with it. And they've shown this with the turtle trader experiment back in, I believe, the 1980s. And they showed that by giving the same strategy with clear rules to many traders, they will all get different results. Some people quit, some people lost all their account, some people went on to become full-time traders from there. So it all depends on the person and of course your personality, what you prefer in the market, how you do things, your consistency and your approach with it. So you cannot just copy someone else's strategy. You gotta be willing to do the work and create your own. Now I wanna share an exercise with you that I think will make a big difference to kickstart that and to get in the process of creating your own trading strategy if you want. If you are at the stage now where you wanna take things seriously and wanna be able to create your own style, do your own thing to get to your goal of trading full-time. But before that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I try to publish a video like this 4 times per week with an interview every single week. So I would love for you to not miss them out and I would love for you to be able to watch them and be notified of these videos. Click the subscribe button, click the bell next to it as well to be notified of future videos. And now that aspect of creating your own trading strategy and against what 95% of people are doing, it's definitely hard. And it's something that takes time, it's something that is definitely kind of difficult. Now when I said people don't do this because they have no coach or no one to guide them into that direction. All the other coaches' videos about things that don't really matter and things that are kind of outcome focused and not real at all. Now the second issue that comes is the fact that people have become lazy. And I'm sad to say this, but it's really true. In a sense that you hear people on my podcast before who've been trading for some time. They were trading or they were beginning like maybe 50 years ago in 1970 or something or even before that. And they had to go through a lot just to be able to look at their chart or even just to be able to backtest something. I remember one guest on the podcast, I'll try to find the interview, leave it below the video if you want to check it out, who said that he was doing his backtest on paper. So for him to be able to backtest anything in the market, he had to print all those charts, like these 200 pages or whatever, draw on the paper and do his backtest that way, by drawing, by hand, by manually. And so that takes time and that's hard. But who today will need to do that? Basically no one, because we've been used to everything being given. We've been used to the software, social media, the things that make it simple to do anything you want. And so we've lost that aspect of doing the hard work, sitting down for a few hours and actually putting a strategy together or testing something to be able to get good results with it and then improving it. We've lost that and that's unfortunate, but that's the reality of being alive in 2021, is that the work ethic we have now has completely changed. It's different from what it was just even a couple years ago. And that's the reason why I decided to create a training on how to build your own trading strategy from scratch, how to create it, how to put it together, how to test it, how to make it better and make sure it's going to be profitable in the market over the long term. Because I really care about giving you these advice and these tips that I think will make a big difference for you. Now, this program, I'll do it with only a few traders, and I'll leave the link below if you want to check it out, if you want to sign up for this. And it's going to take place next week, next Saturday, from you watching this video. So if you watch this late, then that won't work. That won't be available because it's a live training. So you can check out the link below to sign up. But in case you don't sign up, let me give you just one exercise here that can make a big difference on you creating your own strategies. This is going to be the first step to putting your strategy together, finding out what you will use in your strategy, and kind of defining it from scratch. So let me give you that. I think it's going to be useful for you, and that we can start and get on the right track right away. Even if you decide to not sign up to my program, I still want to give you some value and make sure you have good results with my videos on YouTube. So here we go. First things first is take a sheet of paper. You can take a notebook if you want. You can take a blank sheet of paper. And what we'll do is step one. We are going to write down everything you know about trading. Every single indicator, every single tool, everything you know about the market and trading and how to trade. So you could write things like support resistance areas, like Bollinger Band, RSI, Fibonacci, all these things you know about the market. Now you will have a lot, depending on what stage you're at, of course, it will vary, but write down everything you know about the market. And these are not things that you master really well, but just things you are aware of in the market. So you write these on a sheet of paper, all of them. You can pause the video if you want to do it and come back here after. The second step into this process is to, from the things you've written down on your sheet, all these items you know about trading and how to trade, you will start to circle the one that you master. So all these topics that you really master well, you've learned, you maybe take a course on it, or maybe you read a lot on the internet about it, or you watch videos about it and you know how to use them really well, you're gonna circle them. And those are things that you will probably use in your strategy in the future, when you create your own, of course. Now, in line with this, you will highlight all the items that kind of fascinate you. You want to learn more about them. You might not be the expert at them, or maybe you are already, but topics that you want to learn in the future. You want to take some course on it. You want to be able to master them better. Highlight those, and once that's done, we can go to the next step. Again, pause the video if you need to be able to do all of that, circle them and highlight them, and then we'll be able to move to the next step. Alright, so last thing, now we are here, is we'll pick the things you'll use for your strategy that you're going to create. And if you have only a few things you've highlighted or you circled, then that means that you probably have to learn more things, right? If you have a lot of things highlighted, but almost none circled, you gotta learn more stuff. You gotta be taking a course, you gotta go on different websites to learn things, and learn these different tools that you are interested to learn. For most people, that won't be the case, because information here is everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on the blogs, it's on the podcast. You can learn things really easily. So you probably know a lot about trading, and even more than you need to know. And so in that case, we'll be able to go right here. But before we do so, I have to teach you one more thing here. By the way, this is going to be like lengthy a little bit, so I'll put a PDF below for you to check it out. That gives you all the steps that I mentioned for you to be able to create your own first strategy. That's going to make it easier for you to follow and to go back and to do it again if you want. So one thing you have to know is the framework that I use for my strategies. Whenever I create something new for the market that I want to trade, I always follow the same framework. And the framework goes like this. I'll try to put it on the screen over here. But first is the market phase. Second is the zone. Third is price action. Fourth is indicators. And that process makes it that you can put them together to create a strategy that will last over time. Now, the cool thing about this framework here is that it's made for a strategy working over time. It's not something that will be curve fitted to past data. It's something that will likely work over the long term because it's like in this framework. And you look at the market context first and you go through these different steps to be able to build your strategy from scratch. So market phase is simple. It's basically how price moves. Is it trending or sideways? Are the trends really strong? What's happening in the market overall? And so we can just make it simple by sideways and trending if you want, or you can be more complex. Depends on your preference and what you've learned so far. Now, second step, the zones, is you gotta figure out a place in the market to look for trades. Maybe it's gonna be a support or resistance area. Maybe it's gonna be a pivot point. It could be Fibonacci retracement. All these things that are zones that you can look for trades in the market, classify here for the zone category, the second part. The third part is price action. Now, price action is pretty clear. It's all the price action patterns, the candlesticks, the chart patterns, the thing that happen in the market that you can look with candlesticks and with price movements, all those things. So it could be like a head and shoulder pattern, it could be a engulfing candle, a pin bar, a hammer, whatever you will call them, the name doesn't matter here. All these things that are related to price action go into that third category. And the fourth one is quite simply indicator. Now I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but you can use indicator in trading. That's gonna be like maybe crazy to hear, but you can use them. People say they're not good, and that's fine, but indicators are like the tools surgeons use to do surgery. They need these tools to be able to look at something. Like, you want to have the surgeon look at your heart rate with his hand doing surgery? It's not going to happen. They have tools, they have indicators, they have machines to tell them what things are at. And of course, it's going to be lagging. It's not like completely direct in things. It's lagging, but they can help make better decisions on the market. So what you do is any indicator you know how to use or you want to learn can go in that category, that fourth category. Now we'll go back to the things before that you've highlighted or circled on your list of items you know in the market. And so the things you know how to use, you master, and the things that you're fascinated about. And what we'll do from here is we want to classify them into these different categories. And we'll go with only one of them for each. So you'll decide first which market phase you want to trade. Is it going to be you trade sideways or trends? Okay, you decide first. Then you go with what zones will you look at. Again, you go back to your list of things you master and that you want to learn more about. Which kind of zone you want to use. And then you write this down under the zone. Then you look at price action. You could have one or two. We're not going to put too many here for starting. But you take one or two things about price action that you know how to use or you want to learn more about. And you write them down into price action. Now these things need to be aligned with your first category of market phase. If you trade trends, don't look for engulfings. Engulfings are for reversals. If you trade sideways, don't look for continuation patterns such as the flag. These are for continuation trades, for trend trades. So it has to be in line with the market and what you look at first, your market phase, and then of course the zone that you look at. Now the fourth step here is look at what indicator we use to add confidence to your trade. If you choose none, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I like indicators. I like to use one maximum per strategy, but you can use whatever you want here. It's totally up to you. So pick that indicator you're going to use to add some confidence. Again, here you want to make this in line with your market phase. If you trade reversals, don't use moving averages because these are for trends. If you trade trends, then don't use the RSI because that's for sideways market. So that's what we have here. And if you do this properly, at the end you basically have a list of the 4 items we talked about: market phase, zone, price action, indicator, and you have a strategy right away from these things. Now, if you need to learn more about these different things you put for your strategy, these different tools, go learn about these specific things. Don't learn about how to make $1,000 per day because that's irrelevant, that's too general. Go learn about how to use this indicator or this one tool. That's more specific. And so now we're at a place where you have your strategy handy. The next step is of course to test it out in the market, see the results, and of course, because it probably won't be profitable from the start, how to make it better, which I'll cover in my program, which you can check out below. It's going to be the first link in the description for this, and I hope to see you there, of course. So that's it. We've covered a lot today. I hope you like this video so far. Leave me your thoughts below as always. Check out this program coming up in a few days. I want to teach you these things because I think they are important. Of course, someone talks about these things because people want to talk about money and making dollar and everything of the sort, which is irrelevant, of course. So I hope you relate to what I talked about today. And I'll catch you back here in the next video in a few days. Ciao.